Welcome to Waypoint Connect. It's so great that you guys are with us, especially now that we're focusing on Father Christmas, and what a privilege to have him live in the studio. Dean, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Dean, maybe tell us a bit about yourself for those of us that don't know you.
Well, I have Mrs. Claus, which we've been married for 23 years. Mm-hmm. So that's going strong, and I have two little elves. Two little elves, Daniel and Matthew. The one's getting a bit bigger to call an elf at the moment. But yeah, been a minister in Central for the last 13 years.
Yeah.
But now busy relocating to Scotland.
Moving closer to the North Pole.
Exactly. To colder weather.
Where you're more accustomed to the weather.
No, exactly.
Dean, my question to you is, and that's kind of how we started and why I'm excited for you to come and share, is my question to you was, why should this Christmas be any different than for you, the 49 Christmases before, for some of our listeners, the 18 Christmases before, but why should this one be different?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, in Isaiah chapter 9, it speaks about God sending a son, and he'll be a wonderful counselor, a mighty God, an everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. And those are like amazing concepts in themselves. But then in Isaiah 7, prophesies that the son will be born of a virgin, and he will be called Immanuel. And then later when Joseph gets a dream, and again the angel speaks to him in a dream and tells him that the name shall be Immanuel, which means God with us. And I mean, that's just an amazing concept, that God would come to be with us.
Yeah. And I think you're 100% right there, because for us, it doesn't have that impact that it had for the recipient of Isaiah's message.
No, sure.
Where God wasn't that present. For Joseph, where God was present only in the temple. You had to go to Jerusalem to meet God. For us nowadays, it doesn't have that impact, but for them it must have been a profound message.
Yeah, they were expecting the Messiah, but there'd been 400 years of silence.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden something was happening. The Messiah was going to be born. But I've been thinking about it, Christmas time is when we prepare for people, right? And imagine you've organized this amazing place on the beach with live music, chefs, and you're going to have this awesome holiday, and it's going to be perfect, right? And then all of a sudden, the plans change. Because the people that you wanted to come and be with you can't be with you.
There's a new variant that they discovered.
Exactly.
So they can't travel.
There's COVID regulations or something.
Yeah.
Right, and they can't be with you in this perfect place that you wanted to share with them over Christmas. But imagine that the regulations are such that you can be with them. In other words, you can travel to be with them, but the place they are in is this barren, dry, desert place where things are broken and not running very well. And so you have a choice, right? Are you going to give up to be with? Or are you going to give up this perfect holiday space that you've created for yourself to be with those that you want to be with? Or are you going to enjoy this alone?
Yeah, so it's kind of asking the question, is the perfect place the main thing, or the being with the people the main thing?
Exactly. So and that's really the Christmas story, isn't it? I mean, Jesus was in heaven in this perfect place, the sinless place. The angels were adoring him, singing his praises. He was in the loving presence of the Father, and he gave all of that up to come and be with us. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he humbled himself. I mean, Paul says, even to death on a cross. And he humbled himself so that he could be with us. Present now. So not just with us then on earth, but with us present by His Spirit in us now. So He walked that road to the cross, died and rose again, so that His presence can remain with us
Yeah.
in this world, so that we can be part of the redeeming power that He has given us.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, so you take that to the next level, right?
So what you're saying is Jesus gave up on Christmas.
He gave up to be with us,
Yeah.
so that we could experience His presence with us.
And now, how are we going to make this Christmas different than any other Christmas?
Well, I think the first one is, are you experiencing His presence? You know, are there maybe things we need to give up, where Christmas has become about the presence, the material?
The turkey.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of the presence of God in our lives. But then I think
Give up on the presents to experience the presence.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So on one level, for our personal spirituality and our personal lives, that's what we need to do maybe. But on an even deeper level, all of us know that we may need to give up, humble ourselves, so that others can experience our presence, and through experiencing our presence, experience God's presence.
Yeah.
And that is really tough, because all of us want to hold on to, all of us want to hold on to what we've got.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about physical things, I'm talking about preferences.
Yeah.
Is Christmas going to be a bra, or is it going to be a banquet?
Yeah.
Are
we going to open our presents first thing in the morning on Christmas, or is it going to be the evening before Christmas, or is it going to be after the lunch on Christmas?
Yes. Are we all going to go to church together, or are you going to go to your church and I'm going to go to my church? And are we going to open one present before and then the rest after? So we have to give up something, to lower ourselves as God lowered Himself. We may have to give up something to humble ourselves, so that people can experience our presence.
Yeah.
So maybe the question is not so much who we want to be present, but who needs our presence. Who is it in our circle that needs our presence this Christmas, so that they may experience God's presence? And then the next question becomes, what is it that we may need to give up? What is it that we may need to give up, so that they may experience God's presence? I think later on Paul speaks about, Jesus came to reconcile us to Himself, and He's given us the ministry of reconciliation. And that takes humbling. And if Christmas is about anything, it's about giving up, so that we can give forgiveness. So it's a giving and it's a giving. It's a humbling to give. That for me is the message of Christmas. It still boggles my mind every time when you think about it. God taking on flesh. I mean, you've had children, I've had children. Those first few weeks, you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the children survive. I think God's made it that way. But if there's one thing that I kind of experienced, was the daunting task of realizing that this little life is so dependent on me.
Yeah.
And God humbled Himself
Being willing to step into that space.
into that
being
space.
vulnerable.
And are we willing to do that this Christmas? To step into that vulnerable place of humbling ourselves, so that people may experience His presence.
So Dean, thank you very much for sharing that great message with us. It's going to be a shame that you won't be able to pop into the studio and come and share nuggets like this often with us. But we're going to use technology to keep in touch and get you
definitely.
to give input. And all the best for you and your family as you make this move. And
Thank you.
I know you're going to be a blessing in other people's life. So
Thank you so
for that.
much. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Guys, and Dean has just challenged us to make this Christmas different by us being different, by us giving up on Christmas. And when we give up on Christmas, we can experience Christmas, which isn't about Christmas, but it's all about experiencing God. So may this Christmas be a phenomenal Christmas for you. And may you be able to experience God in your relationships with other people. And may it be a blessing for you to just give up on this Christmas. And remember, have a great week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.